Do that. Start the live. So hi everyone, welcome back. We're on day 2 of the Position Yourself Online 5-day workshop. Losing my words here. Very excited to have so many cool people on live. And today, what we're going to talk about is more about your ideal clients. But what's most important with social media is where to find them. So yesterday we had a bit of a talk about establishing your ideal clients and who they are and where we might find them and what their secret desires are. And your homework was to write a love letter to them that you could break down into some juicy content and give you absolute clarity on who you serve, which is the most important thing. Today we're going to talk about where to find them, because another one of the biggest mistakes on social media is people waste so much time, you know, pushing a dead horse, sorry for the phrase, but, you know, and they're, so for example, if you're targeting corporate women in a sort of leadership corporate space, then you may not find them on Instagram or TikTok. They'll be on LinkedIn. You know, if you're, you know, targeting millennials, less than 30, they're probably not even on Facebook or LinkedIn. They'll be in Instagram. Or if they're younger than that, they'll be in TikTok or Snapchat or one of those things. And so often we overwhelm ourselves by trying to learn 3 or 4 platforms when we could actually really simplify it and just learn one really well, master it, and then move on only if we have to. So I'm doing so well with Facebook. If you look at my other profiles, they're not actually that great at the moment. That is going to change. But my ideal clients are all on Facebook. So, you know, it's just really easy for me to do one thing really well. And I also, because I do so many calls and I've got 5 coaches that I work with, I can't spend all day on the internet. I can't spend all day on Instagram and then making a dance for TikTok. And yes, if we're working online, it is good to have an idea about positioning our business like a social media company, but it doesn't mean we spend all day in front of the camera. Unless that's your thing and you really like it, then you should probably put the energy into being a YouTube star. So, hey Jen, hi Simon, they're just on a Facebook group. No worries, Jen. Yeah, so it's really important to get to know who they are. So let's just tune in. I want you to think about your perfect client. So one person on the call is like me with my other 2 businesses. I said yesterday, like, when I was working in the super yacht industry, I didn't realize I needed a perfect client because we nailed it. We nailed a niche and I fell into it, and super yacht crew are a real niche. It's a very, you know, a very small niche in the world. I think there's only, I can't remember, I think it was like 50,000 or something. But so it's a great niche. And it was only when I started moving into this work, I had to really review and relook at like perfect clients. So tune into who they are. So who do you want to work with, or who are you targeting? Whose problems do you solve? What age are they? Where are they hanging out? So on that note, let's just go through some of the social medias that are the most common. So Facebook. Facebook generally targets people, I thought it used to think it was really young people, but it's actually like the middle age. So generally, you know, the age of Facebook is about, you know, 30 plus, and 30 to 80 love Facebook. You know, it's become an adult thing. Instagram is a bit younger. Like Instagram's growing and growing, and some older people are getting in it. But Instagram's where a lot of the millennials hang out, and a lot of them only do business on Instagram. And a few of the ones that I look after don't even go on Facebook, you know, and I used to wonder why they didn't answer their Facebook messages, and they switched it off because it wasn't cool. So Instagram's, you know, for a more visionary, creative thing. You can also, later in the call, I'm going to talk about how we can actually strategically position ourselves between each of these things as well, and use different content. TikTok, which is quickly being banned in many countries in the world, is generally the younger kids. So I became a TikTok star when I was in holiday in the Caribbean. And it was super easy because my husband was kiting at Green Island, and I took this video of him in sunlight, sun right down. It was really red. The sky was phenomenal. The wind was amazing. And he came and he did this huge jump next to the boat I was on, and I'm showing the boat and I'm showing this jump, and then he stacked and he had this huge crash in the water. And, you know, it got like, I don't know, 50,000 hits in a day. And they were all kids under the age of 15 in Antigua, which, you know, isn't a bad target audience if you're running like a sailing academy for kids in Antigua, like one of my friends is. But it wasn't ideal for me. And then they all wanted to chat, and they all wanted to come and visit, and they all wanted to come and see the boat. And I was like, I've just completely wasted my time, because I'd invested on a TikTok marketing course as well. And I tried to do the dances, and I was like, this just isn't really going to bring traction for me. It's not right. Okay, back to Facebook. Then we've got the difference between Facebook pages that some of you may use, especially if you've got a more nuts and bolts business. So for our winch servicing business, a yachting engineering business, we specifically use our Facebook page. So Facebook page, you can use separately to your own identity. If you're in the personal business, or you're providing adventure holidays, if you're doing coaching, if you have a health and wellness business or something like that, then it is good to leverage your page. But I do have a couple of clients that are really strict, and they want to keep their personal page for family and friends. I believe that if you're going to be on Facebook, you may as well leverage the SHIT out of it and use it for both. And I do it really well, because I'm all into organic trafficking, and like I said yesterday. But you know, you can actually position yourself really well with just a page too. And the bonus is you can learn to micro target, which means choosing specific things about your niche, like maybe they like surfing and kite surfing and skateboarding and mushrooms and champagne. You know, that's how we start micro targeting our niche. And it works really well if you want to boost posts in Facebook or start running Facebook ads. But at the beginning of business, like I learned the hard way, and I'm sure a couple of you that I can see on the call today, is you can lose a lot of money if you're not ready to take the time to learn it. So we've got Facebook, Instagram. I'm not going to bother about TikTok unless if anyone wants to, please put it in the chat, and LinkedIn. And then there's YouTube. So YouTube's a really interesting one. It does take a couple of years to leverage in it. You can do really well with a specific niche. So my godchild had a febrile convulsion 5 years ago, and straight after it, I thought, I'm going to start making movies, because I was on the phone to them the whole time while this was going on. They were in the middle of the island, which was an hour and a half drive from where I was in the mountain. And I thought, I'm going to make videos on YouTube. So any mother that's child has an emergency, they can watch my video and get the answer in 2 minutes and provide first aid care. This is when I was specifically only working in the marine medicine and adventure medicine company. And I got 40,000 hits in a day. You know, my CPR on super yachts went viral. I think that's up to 200,000 or something. It's ridiculous. Now, that's because I'd been consistently posting on YouTube for a few years, and I hit the right niche for me. Now I'm doing something a little bit different most of the time, like 70% of the time. You know, I've pivoted that. Now, Facebook is really useful, because I'm also going to bring into more things now that I think we need to concentrate more and more as time goes on. Because let's face it, we've got a nice, you know, everyone's pretty much my age. We've got a more mature audience today. So let's focus on the things that really matter. Now, there is a chance, who knows, Facebook could disappear tomorrow. And if all your eggs are in that basket, all your lives and all your posts are recorded, and they decide to switch it off, you could lose everything. Which is why I find it really good to start building a blog or have some sort of web page presence. I used to say you don't need a web page, and if you're in early business, you don't need a web page. You can run it off a Facebook page. But what happens is web pages and blogs actually give you 8 points in Google. So, you know, if you want to get to the top of Google, every time someone Googles Jenny Milton or, you know, snow kiting adventures, then you want to, you know, take note here. So if you have a blog and a web page, you actually want to put the main blogs that you're putting on the web page as they update. So every time I've built 4 blogs and sold them all on using this process, and it worked really well. So I had all my recent blogs. I had the web page where I'm looking kind of pretty and it says about me and what I do and the problems I solve and the pains I solve. Then I'd have my blog topics. And every time, you know, web pages and Google love fresh content. So every time you're uploading something into that content, then you get to get more points. And so you'll get 8 points for blogs and web pages if they're continuously updated. You also get 8 points for YouTube. So if you're making YouTubes regularly and you're putting them on your blog, it's going to be way more favored in the Google algorithms than it is to be just running off Facebook or Instagram. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up or love hearts or a nod if you're on the Zoom. So Facebook and Instagram and all those other, you know, basic social medias, they only give you 1 point. So to really leverage them, if you're going to start really moving into online business or not even online business, if you've got a nuts and bolts business, if you've got an adventure tour company or a magazine or a coaching company or a health and wellness business or a nuts and bolts business in engineering or medicine or whatever it is, then you really need to have at least a landing page, and preferably a landing page that you update with a blog. There's loads of cheap and free ones available on the net these days as well. So, you know, it's pretty easy to tune in and find the right one for you. So have a think about that for a sec. Let's just tune in and feel what feels right for you at this time, because the last thing we need is overwhelm. And where I want you to be at the end of this session is to be crystal clear on, I'm just going to really focus on this one this month. And then when that's all running tickety-boo, then I'm going to incorporate the next one. And as the week goes on, I'm going to give you the content plans I use for really successful engagement and a few hacks to have more engagement in these platforms as well. So where do you think your people are hiding? Are they on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook? Do they prefer blogs or YouTube? Have a think about it and pop it in the chat.
All of it.
All of it?
Yeah.
I
don't know where they're hiding, but because the world is changing right now, you know, everything's changing. So all systems are changing.
Yeah.
And where my clients are, well, they're not here in Mallorca this year, that's for sure. Yeah. I don't know. They're on social media. I think they're on Facebook. A lot of people are on Facebook.
Awesome. So let's make Facebook the one you choose for the next, you know, I like.
And Instagram.
Yep. Choose one for now. Master one and then move on.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the next thing I want to think about is how are we going to catch their attention? So we want to think about things that they're going to be drawing into. So yes, it's great to have perfect clients and it's great to know who we want to attract and who we want to work with and how it's all going to work. But we also want to start thinking about them. What do they want to see? Now, what would be a really cool thing you could incorporate into your posts that's like a signature that every time they see it, it reminds them of you, right? So is a plant or an eagle or a glass of water, or for those of you in health and wellness, a green smoothie, or is it being near a super yacht for those of you in the super yacht or luxury travel industry? Is it a kite? Jenny, who's on the live, does some amazing posts with her kites. And, you know, so we haven't even met in person, but whenever I now think of Jenny when I see an Ozone kite, because she's doing so many cool posts using, Ozone's a brand, using these things. So what we're going to do is try and get into the subconscious. So I was talking to my diamond group the other day, which is I coach women and men, but I have 2 groups. So in the diamond group, we've got 10 women, and we were speaking about this concept. So does everyone remember the Kit Kat, the chocolate? So Kit Kat, the chocolate bar, I think it's made by Nestle or something. In the late 80s or early 90s, they were going broke and they needed to up their marketing. So they made this really cool ad that many of you remember, unless it was only in Australia, but then a few of us will remember. I'll tell you about it, you'll get the vibe. And they're at a busy workplace, and these 2 people go into the tea room and they decide to have a break, and they brew the coffee, and the coffee's brewing, and they smell the coffee, and they're like, and they sit down with their coffee, and they're like, and you're smelling it, you're tasting it, you're feeling it. Remember, it's all about like the feelings that our posts are bringing up and that our ads are, bringing up. A lot of us need to resort to traditional advertising to be successful. And so they're brewing this coffee and the steam's coming up, and suddenly they look all relaxed, and one of them pulls the Kit Kat out and breaks it in half and shares it. And they're like, have a break, have a Kit Kat. Now, not only has from now on and evermore, every person that has a break now goes have a Kit Kat. Well, my husband does. Maybe no one else does, but it was a bit of a thing. And in the 90s, coffee breaks became associated with Kit Kats, right? So what we want to do is get into our clients' heads, and we want them to do, there's a thing in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is something that all the advertisers use and all the digital marketers are really tuned in on. And it's all about the me too. So you don't want to be like a million steps away, so when I'm looking for mentors and coaches, I don't go to, the Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or, I could, but I don't. I go to people that have been coached by them that are closer to my level because they're more relatable. And it makes me go, me too. They got there. I can too. Whereas I can't see myself like a Gary Vee or a Tony Robbins at this stage, So how can you position yourself? So, if you were in the luxury field, one of my clients works in luxury. So, it's like, well, have a Louis Vuitton bag on, have some Chanel on for every post. Take a post with, a selfie with the Chanel or Hugo Boss shop behind you, or whatever those people are going to relate to and want more of in their life. So we're talking about positioning here. So we want to work out where our clients are, what platform they hang out on the most, what times are they on. So it's really interesting to see. Sometimes you may do a post and get no comments or likes. And it's not because of the content, it's because everyone was asleep or everyone was at work or no one was online. So when I worked full-time with my company in the super yacht industry, I would always post at 12 o'clock because I knew every boat had lunch at 12 o'clock and everyone would be on their phones. Now, especially during COVID, all my perfect clients were online at like 9 o'clock at night. So, which is hard because I get up super early. And I was like staying up to do my posts, because the other thing you want to do to get maximum engagement is when someone comments on your post, if you can answer them in the first 20 minutes, you're going to get better traction. Facebook's going to go, oh, this person's got good content. Everyone's going to like them. I'm going to show them around. Plus, you're more accessible by the people that like the post. There are other friends that are friends with you are more likely to see that post. And if they've written something intelligent, maybe someone will click on it and you'll be more exposed, or someone might share it. So they are my top tips to positioning yourself online. So I'm gonna actually turn the recordings off in just a sec and go into a Q&A that's for the Zoom. But has anyone on the Facebook Live got any questions before I switch off? Has it been useful? Give me some love heart.
Very, very useful. Yes, very useful. I don't have any questions myself because I'm a newbie. I'm learning all about this. You know, I've always been a very hands-on person in my work. You know, I'm hands-on the kitchen, hands-on bodies, but I'm not so much hands on the computer. So I'm learning all about this. But I really appreciate your classes. Excellent information. I'm getting into it.
Oh,
yeah, thank you. Thank you very
about
much.
to convert Lindsay, who's on the Zoom, into social media. She's just saying, you probably can't hear of it. She was just saying she's a, yeah, Jenny, come back into Zoom as well, totally. The link is below in the comments and you'll be able to jump straight on. So I'm going to switch off the Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you all same time tomorrow. And now we're going to do a
Thank you.
today.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Really good to see you. Feel free to stick around and see if anyone's got any questions. Amal, can I help you with anything today?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, Amanda, there was a part that I missed. When you said the 8-point system that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So if I got that right, it was, make sure you have a landing page. And then with the landing page, link it, did you say with the blog or a YouTube video? Or have that content on it?
Preferably.
About, okay. Because I know currently we definitely have a website, but I don't really have a blog or a YouTube that I'm doing as yet. So that's an opportunity for sure to look at.
Like, for example, what you could do, you can also have unlisted YouTubes as well. So unlisted means you can share the link. So for example, the Zoom you did in our Women's Leadership Society on Saturday, you can, which was amazing, by the way, so amazing. You can record that and keep that or download that, ask them for the recording, and then have that in your YouTube with a link. And then if people want to find out how you work, you could send them that private link to watch that call. Then you can put the more, you've obviously got a bit on and you don't have to go all in on this. It can be the next step. So right now, like, work on positioning yourself in Facebook. Then when you get the hang of that and you're in an easy content flow and it's not feeling like, like I spoke to someone yesterday who's in this course and she said, well, I don't even know if I want to be in social media actually. Like I don't have to read any comments now. I just want to work. Like, I don't really want to know if I want to post, and it seems to take all day, and it shouldn't take all day. It should be easy and fun, and you should have a system where it's just boom, 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 and that's why we can't spread ourselves too thin, or you'll spend all day doing a bit on the website and then trying to make a YouTube. And I did that for years and didn't get anywhere. It was only when I actually stopped it all, success started to come, because I had the space for clients. I actually had no space. I was so busy making content that I didn't have space for the clients.
Yeah, that's helpful, because that's the conundrum that I sort of fall into, is that I don't want all my time being occupied on social media. And when I write, it's usually when I'm inspired, and then I'll go on social media if there's something that I really feel called that this needs to be shared. And so my presence on social media is sort of unpredictable. I guess there isn't a pattern that I go on every Friday or whatever be it. I don't know if that
a pattern this week. I feel if you actually had a little pattern and you're like, Tuesdays, I'm going to do a problem solving post, and that's it. And you're like, okay, so what's a problem my client had this week? I'm just going to talk about not the client's name or anything, but address the problem in a live or some copy, boom, boom, boom.
Okay. But you're saying rather focus than that attention on on a YouTube and or blog versus Facebook?
Yeah.
Is that
Let me have another look at your Facebook tonight and feed
yeah.
into it. I feel if you're using Facebook a lot, let's get you, and because of your link with the Women's Society, where that you'll get lots of traction from, I think you should master Facebook first, and then when as your space expands and you can create a bit more space, or you've got money to invest in the business, you get someone like Ema, who's one of our friends. Sorry, we're talking about people you guys don't know. But like Ema did a swap and has the most divine, amazing website I've ever seen. So you've got a really good team there that you could do some swaps with and get that, and then start doing a couple of presentations, or get a group of women and do a talk or do a free challenge like this and video it and then upload it to YouTube.
Got it. Thank you. That's really helpful, Amanda.
Beautiful. Thanks, darling. Satnam. Jenny.
Hi, how's it going? I just moved to the Facebook Live to watch the presentation today because it just seemed to stream a lot cleaner. On the Zoom, I was getting very choppy audio, which I know somebody else had problems with yesterday. But just to let you know, the Facebook Live streamed clean for me, and now I've just come back for the questions. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I'm in an RV using a hotspot on a mobile phone in the middle of nowhere, and so you've just got to make it work. And
well, you're super clear.
that's awesome. So I feel like I'm on the right track. I did a course, I don't know, a few months ago now, to learn how to build a website, which I've done. It's not perfect, but that's okay, because Amanda told me you don't have to be perfect.
Get over that.
And I know that I want to start a blog on that website, but because of all this COVID stuff, my plan has changed. I'd planned to go back to Australia to work and to run my business, and unfortunately I'm not going back to Australia now. So my website was kind of set up for that, and so I haven't actually launched my website yet. I haven't told anyone about it, although funny, somebody found it by accident last week and filled in one of my forms, and all of a sudden I got an email and I'm like, oh my God, someone filled in my form. And it's like, okay, that'll work when I launch it.
And celebrate those small wins. The more energy goes where energy flows where attention goes. So the more we celebrate those small wins. So I'm really stoked to hear you excited about it, because so often I have clients going, oh, I only had one person comment. I only had one person inquire. I'm like, one, you're lucky you got that with that attitude. I'd be like, oh my God, that person took 5 minutes to fill out that form. 5 people come on the Zoom. Like, wow, that's so cool. It's a massive shift.
It was really cool because I set up the form with questions to ask them things about themselves, because last year when I was dealing with clients, oh my God, I spent so much time emailing. I'd have 50 emails between one client asking them questions backwards and forwards. And so I set up this form on the website so that I'm asking them all the basic stuff that I need to begin with before I even have their first email, so that I can provide them with better information rather than going backwards and forwards. So that's a big step. I'm excited to start blogging, but I kind of put that on hold because I wasn't ready to launch the website. But last week, and it all just happened without a plan, and just like you said, sometimes just go with the flow. So because I couldn't go back to Australia, I was super disappointed, and I felt a great responsibility to my clients, which is awesome because I'm starting to love my clients. Okay. And I felt a great responsibility to provide them with some instruction. The biggest problem is I've got all these clients want to go snow kiting, and guess what? There's no instructors in Australia. There's no snow kite instructors. There's not even any snow kite instructor training, which I'm going to start.
Why are you not on the first flight back? Because you can get in, you just can't, you might get it back out. Is that the problem, or?
It was a really tough decision for me. The main issue is that I have an awesome husband that I love. Steve, and he's from Montana. So we're from different countries, and we've been married for 13 years and together for about 18, but we have done the long distance thing that whole time.
Yeah.
I've never spent a 12 months in one country or the other. I've been going backwards and forwards, 6 months here, 6 months there. And normally this is my 6 months that I go back to Australia and I see my mum and my grandma and I work my business and I see my friends and I leave my husband here, which lets me focus on my business 100%.
Yeah.
But this year, you know, I would have to get on a plane for 15 hours with a whole heap of strangers who may or may not be wearing masks. That wasn't an awesome idea, but I would have done it. Then you spend 2 weeks in quarantine, which was free until yesterday, and now it's $3,000. And I'd have to, my plane was cancelled, so I'd have to buy another plane fare. So all of a sudden my expenses to run my business started going up and up and up.
Mm-hmm.
So many unknowns about whether the ski resorts would even open. Last week, 2 ski resorts in Australia closed due to COVID. So if I made all that effort to get back and the ski resorts closed, I'd lose all my money anyway. But that isn't why I didn't go. The main reason I didn't go, and sorry, it's a long story, is because I love my husband, and the chances of us being stuck in 2 different countries apart for an extended period of time that we had no control over how we would come back together was just that's a no-brainer. I just wasn't going to do that because although I could get back to Australia as an Australian citizen, I am not allowed to leave the country. So once I came back, I could not leave again. I couldn't come back to the US to be with my husband, Steve, and he has a business and things that he does here. So he wasn't ready to leave. So I made a massive decision to, you know, I just gave up 80% of my income with that one decision, which is why I am really focused on trying to position myself online. Thank you, Amanda, so that I can be making money online and I don't necessarily have to be there in person. So I started a Facebook group last week. I've only been doing it a week. Right? I went, oh shit, how can I give all this information that I've got to my clients, and not just the clients that have paid me before, but anybody who wants to learn. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start writing. And so I started a Facebook page, a Facebook group, right? And I wanted to make it private so I could see how many people coming in the group, who they were, and if they were mean, because I've seen mean people in groups before, I could eliminate them. Right? I was in control of
Do you
that
ask
group.
for their email in the joining questions?
I did not, and that was a mistake. I
Go in and
realized.
adjust that today, please.
Okay.
If Facebook shuts down, we need our emails, and we're all losing touch with email lists. So if you are on Facebook, get the emails, even if you're not going to be doing emails to people, you still really need to have people's emails. That data is worth its weight in gold.
Okay, that's
Emails will
good
never
information.
die.
Because I'm amazed. I shared it on my personal page on Facebook, and then I realized that there were a couple of Facebook groups that I was in that had my target audience. They were my audience. So I shared a personal post saying I've been in tears that I'm not coming back to teach snow kiting, and you know, but this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to provide you with all this information. And so I started essentially blogging on the Facebook group, right? And for some reason I found it a lot easier because it wasn't on a website and it wasn't all fixed, you know. It was just, I don't know, a Facebook post, and I do them all the time.
So often I've gone and then, you know, swapped it over, but yeah,
and I thought about, I probably will swap that over so that content's there. But I made the decision to do a post every 2 days. So I posted one day, and then the next day I woke up and answered questions, and then the next day I posted again, and then I woke up and answered questions, because my market is in multiple countries. So the timing thing that you talked about, what time? Well, man, it's you know, this time in one country and another time in another country. So I'm kind of just giving people 24 hours to read it, and then I'm coming back to it. I'm amazed. I've got 210 people in my group in a week.
Well done.
Which is amazing. So I've obviously done something right without kind of even realize what I'm doing. So that's awesome. But I now know that when the country opens up and I'm ready to start running my tours again, and people can travel and come and have, you know, live lessons with me, I've got all these people in this group, right? I've got my captive audience that, you know, and they're starting to ask me questions. They're answering their own questions. If I haven't come back in 24 hours, someone else has jumped on, and yeah, it's really cool. So I'm just hoping I can turn that into the blogs on my website that you talked about. As soon as I'm nearly ready, not quite. I just want my website to have all the right dates on it for all my tours, you know, all the dates are on there and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, totally. And
I'll get there.
And right now I'll just keep leveraging that Facebook, you know, I think, and then you're going to have that perfect landing page to send them to, and blogs and YouTubes and things. So get just that Facebook group is your baby, and keep holding it and nurturing it and feeding it, because you know that you didn't even need to come to this session, because you know who, what, where and how, and you're doing all the right things. So well done.
Well, yes and no, and I don't want to take up, I know the other ladies must have some more questions too, but, you know, I really feel like I should be on Instagram. And, you know, hey, I'm nearly 50, and I'm one of those old people on Facebook, and I feel comfortable there, but I really want to push myself to discover how Instagram works, and because I know that there's a lot of my clients that are on Instagram.
There would be a big kite surfing thing on Instagram. So my advice to you is get your web page finished first, and be writing a blog or two a week before you start diving into Instagram.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Keep it simple.
Okay, I'm on the right track. I just need to keep taking the steps in the right order.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Couple more months, couple of weeks, couple of months, won't matter.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you.
All right, beautiful ladies. I've got to jump on another call now. It's been so good to see you. Thanks for joining. And I'll see you all this time tomorrow.
Thank you, Amanda. Bye.
Hugs.
Bye.
Love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Satnam.
Satnam.